Do, 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 do. Do 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 do. Hey, Kaiba, I want to play a game. Ah, Puggy, you are adorable. You'll notice that Kaiba really hasn't moved very much, but I swear to God, things have changed. I've gone to bed, gone back up, he's gone for a W, and I've had a shower, hence my hair being all crazy, because I forgot to brush it. But yeah, somebody is still pretty much exactly where he was the last time we looked at him. uh, Given a lot of thought to my dilemma as to what I was going to do with my decks and such, um, if you tuned in last night's video that was impromptu, we started a little mini series on the channel that I'm calling my vacation logs. So put out the first one last night. There will be another one coming out tomorrow as a vacation update, but as like a mini thing. Um, I've figured out what I'm going to do with the decks. The Goblin Shattergang deck is going to probably get put on the back burner for a little while because I'm just a little irritated with that per se. But what I really want to build is I want to build a really cool Wart the Raid Mother green and red deck. And I also have a red and black deck that I want to build. And I have a couple decks that I want to update, so that's my plan for today. I'll keep you posted how that goes tomorrow in the video. For today's video, I was not actually kidding about wanting to play a game, and it's actually our favorite game on this channel. It is Dollarama Drums of Destiny. I've got 5 packs of Destiny for you guys today because I felt like celebrating since it is me on vacation this week. And I was going to change the playmat, but I kind of forgot to. Oops, my bad. Maybe I will change that playmat. Pause! Pause! Alright, that's better. I like this one a lot, actually. Just because it's green and it's joyful and it makes me happy. And the more I talk about it, the more I realize it reminds me of like forests and stuff, which just reminds me of how much more I am definitely a green player at heart without realizing it. Um, that being said, the mono green deck that I built is going to be an interesting one to showcase for you guys later in the month. But in the meantime and between time, let's see if we pull anything interesting that we want to add to it today, or to any of the 4 decks that I want to work on today. I also have to go out really briefly and pick up a few cards from Dark Fox and grab a couple packs of sleeves and some deck boxes. It's going to be a little bit of an expensive day today, unfortunately. Figure I'm going to probably be dropping somewhere in the neighborhood of $100 that I didn't want to drop, but she be what she be. That's what credit cards are for. And I really do want to build the mono white and mono black deck this week, and then I want to sleeve up those two, plus sleeve up my new Raid Mother deck that I'm building, and the black and red deck that I want to build, whose commander I'm not going to reveal to you yet because I want that to be possibly a surprise commander when I do that deck reveal. Starting off with Pearl of Wisdom, always a good thing to have. uh, Costs 1 less to cast if you have an otter. I don't play with a lot of otters, but you get to draw 2 cards for 3, and that's not bad. You don't have to discard anything either. So I'll take that. Essence Drain, that's an old one. Not old as in it counts for our old school qualifications, but it's an actual card that I played with back in the university days. 4 and a black. Deals 3 damage to target creature or player, and you get to gain 3 life. Pretty simplistic, but I like it. Blood Feud, 4 and 2 black, or god damn. I I swear I'm not colorblind. I swear. I just have this ADHD thing where my brain just races ahead and says things. My tongue sometimes says things before my brain catches it and it's like, no, silly, you got that wrong. Even Kaiba's sitting over there judging me right now. Daddy, I can tell from here that that was red. Target creature fights another creature. Ooh, you can actually pick your own creatures in this case, though. Like more often than not, when you get a fight spell, it always fights target creature and opponent controls. But I've never seen one that lets you fight another target creature that potentially you control. Interesting. Unlicensed disintegration. Hmm. I'm wondering if that's a Warhammer card. Destroy target creature. If you control an artifact, unlicensed disintegration deals 3 damage to that creature's controller. It's pretty cool. I like that as an instant for sure. But like I say, I'm not really sure if that is what set that's from. I've never, I don't think I've ever seen that set symbol before. Evolving Adaptive, I know what that one's from. That is definitely a Phyrexian OLB1 card, and we pulled plenty of copies of that. I don't actually tend to run any of them though. Not because it's not a bad card, it's just it takes a while to get itself up to par. It has the same idea of like creatures that have evolve, except you put oil counters on this one instead of +1/+1 counters, and then it gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. So it's the exact same idea, it's just got Phyrexian flavor. Venerable Knight, 1 and 2, 1 white for a 2/1. When it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target knight you control. Okay. I eventually want to build another Knights deck besides having the one that I have as like a commander precon to play with. Because I really like knights and stuff. Like medieval times is one of my favorite like historical periods to like draw back on for games and stuff. I think that's one of the reasons why I love Legend of Zelda series so much. Custodian of the Trove, 3 for 2/5 with Defender that enters the battlefield tapped. Hmm. Not the best card ever. I'm not really doing my pluses and minuses. Sorry guys. That's mid. I like that actually a lot. I like that one. You're a good card, I just don't play you a lot. You are only useful in a Knight's deck, so you're going bottom. And I will bottom this one too, because the whole point of having a defender is for it to defend you, and if it comes in tapped, then it can't really defend you. So that makes it kind of a bad card to play. Thundering Chariot, on the other hand, looks like a really good card. First strike, trample, haste, crew 1, 3/3. That's definitely going to make it the cut for my eventual mounts and artifact vehicle deck that I want to build in green and white. Or it'll end up in the Optimus Prime deck. That's something I forgot I wanted to talk to you guys about too. Um, Transformers cards. I did a quick Google search the other day. I might have mentioned this in another video, but I don't remember for sure. Apparently, there's only like 15 that they actually printed. I had no idea the total was so low. And 2 of them I can't play in an even in a Brea deck because they have green. So basically, if I do get the Brea card, which I have ordered one, I'm not really happy with the artwork on it. I'm hoping to get a better one at some point and replace it, but for now at least I have a copy. But I mean, the even if I were to build all the Transformers into a Brea deck, I would still need to put a whole ton of other artifacts and stuff because um, there's just not enough Transformer cards apparently. So I'm debating whether I want to like once I'm done pulling all the stuff out of Brothers War Packs, which I still have, I think like well, I have 7 set aside for new set versus old set at some point against the space set. And I have another 5, maybe 6 packs left. So I'm thinking between those two things that I will probably, once all those packs are opened and we see if there's any more Transformers cards, I'll probably either just build with what I've got or we'll see. We'll go from there. We got our legendary for the day, which is awesome, but it is one we've already pulled before, which is not so awesome. But it is actually one that's kind of cool, so puts him to awesome. 4/4 from Fallout, Marcus the Mutant Mayor. He has vigilance and trample, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card if that creature has a +1/+1 counter on it. If it doesn't, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. So basically, all your creatures are going to get +1/+1 counters at some point from this guy, and if they have +1/+1 counters already in a attack, you get bonus points, which in the favor of drawing cards. So I actually like this. I think that'll be a fun one to build a commander deck around. The fact that I already have a copy of it, though, means I can put a second copy into something else. And green blue is pretty versatile, so I'm not sure what I'll put it in, but I might end up putting that in my Actually, you know what would be funny is putting that into Bumbleflower somehow. But I don't know what I would take out of Bumbleflower at this point. I'm seriously debating buying a second Bumbleflower deck just so I can have a second one and build it slightly different, but not completely different from the first one. Bone Harvest. 2 and a black for an instant. Put any number of target creature cards from your graveyard on top of your library. Draw a card at the beginning of next turn's upkeep. Oh, that is cool. Oh, I like that a lot. This gets your entire graveyard potentially back onto your library. The only downside is you won't be able to shuffle your library, obviously, unless you get something else into play, but still, this is really good. That'll actually go really great into one of my Spellslinger decks. Evolving Wilds is a great land. This pack was pretty decent, guys. Decent pack. Momentary Blink. Exile target creature you control, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it has flashback 3 and a blue, 1 and a white to play. Hell yes. And it's instant speed. Oh, even better. Oh man, this pack is great. Evernight Shade. 3 and a black for a shade with 1/1. Pay a black, this thing gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and it has Undying. When it dies, if it had no +1/+1 counters on it, it comes back to the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Beautiful pull. Rush Descent. 3 and blue. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2, and then you amass 2. What the What is this pack? I'll pay 4 to amass 2 on top of countering a spell? And Moment of Craving. Oh, for those who don't play, amass 2 means I get to make a token that has 2 +1/+1 counters on it. But the thing that's cool about that is you can only control one type of army at a time. So like you can have one zombie army, you can have one orc army, etc., etc. But whenever you amass, you put +1/+1 counters on the same army, so it just keeps growing and growing. So even though it's one token, it actually represents like a really large army per se, which is kind of neat. I like that mechanic because of that reason. Moment of Craving. 1 and a black. Target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, and you gain 2 life. Really good pack. You know what? I'd even move this up to the top. I know it's sorcery speed. No, because you cost 5, I'm going to leave you where you are. Still, though, solid first pack for sure. I'm going to move everything slightly down so that we can see it a little bit better, because apparently my phone... Or do that. That works too. There we go. All right. Pack number 2 coming at you. See if we can... Actually, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to put the garbage over here. We're going to switch these things over because I see that there's a weird reflection off the light. And then that way you guys can see everything better. Perfect. All right. Pack number 2. What do we have for you? Something good, I hope, because pack number 1 was totally stoked. Ooh. Spoilers, I think I saw a hollow. Oh, it's fun to pull a hollow. I know that in terms of Magic, hollows are kind of like a 50-50 gamble because of the way freaking cards Pringle. And Pringling, for the record, is a real thing. They actually turn into like Pringles chips essentially because of how much they curl. So I know a lot of people hate on hollows. I come from Yu-Gi-Oh! I still love seeing a hollow, even if it's going to curl on me eventually, as long as I get into a sleeve or I get packed into a bunch of other cards. Generally, it stays pretty flat. Risen Realm is an enchantment, 2 and a white. Exile a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls when this thing enters until this thing leaves. And when this thing enters, you get to scry one. It's a decent one. There's a lot of enchantments and artifacts and stuff that do this, and I'm not a huge fan of this ability because it just puts an instant target on the field for them to return what they want back. But having Scry 1 on it makes it at least a mid-worthy card for sure. Shortcut to Mushrooms. Enter the battlefield. The ring tempts you at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you get to put +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Solid. Enchantment. Ebol Sar Gatekeepers. This is a new one for me. It's a zombie. 3 and a black for a 2/4. We're always happy to pull a zombie for the record. When this thing enters the battlefield, if you control 2 or more gates, ooh. Okay, so that's going in my gates deck when I eventually build it. Because you're very specific, though, I will put you bottom. Actually, you know what? No, you are very specific. I will put you bottom because of that reason. But I do like you. Bloodlust Inciter. Human Warrior, 1 red for a 1/1. Tap, target creature gets haste until end of turn. Haste enablers are always a nice bonus. Ooh, look at the hollow. Haste enablers are always a nice bonus, I was going to say. But then we got the hollow, and it is pretty artwork. 4 and 2 black for a 5/4 demon flying. When Miasma Demon enters, you may discard any number of cards. When you do, up to that many target creatures each get -2/-2 until end of turn. Interesting. This one is from Duskmourn because of the butterfly. But so that means it's a much newer card. But I like it. It's a beautiful hollow. I wish it was a legendary though. But I will definitely put you top. That's a legendary. Nice. Planeswalker. 3 and either 3 white, 3 black, or a combination of the two. For a 7 loyalty planeswalker, Kaya Bane of the Dead says your opponent's impermanence, your opponent's control with hexproof can be the targets of spells and abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof. Nice. And you -3 her to exile a creature. The only downside is you need to put her in a deck that proliferates, otherwise she's going to be completely useless. And I do have a few that proliferate, but not very many. There is one that is Orzhov. I don't know whether she'll fit into it though, but it is one that I need to upgrade in the near future. I'm going to actually put that there. It's not a legendary creature, but it is a legendary planeswalker, so it deserves to have its own little section, I think. Mighty Grasp. Untap target creature gets +2/+4 and gains reach until end of turn. Nice. Cost 3, but instant speed. I'll take that any day. Mirelurk Queen. Ooh, 4 and a blue for 4/4 Vigilance. When this thing enters the battlefield, target player gets 2 rad counters. Whenever 1 or more non-land cards are milled, draw a card, then put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Nice. Only happens once each turn, but still. Basically, she can get herself up to a 6/6 potentially if the person doesn't lose both rad counters in one turn. And I did pull that really weird 0/8 like super crab the other day that's a legendary. Maybe I'll eventually build a crabs deck. That'll be funny. Put you mid. I like you. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put you top because you have vigilance, and I think that makes you extra special. Hostile Takeover. Ooh. This is actually one of the decks that I want to upgrade today. A Spellslinger deck that is blue, black, and red. So let's see. To one target creature has base power and toughness, yeah, 1/1. To one target creature has base power toughness 4/4. Then, oh, I have a copy of this card, but I have a different version of the artwork. I think I actually like this version better. I have like a full art version that's weird. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. Actually, I might like both versions. I'm not sure which one I want to play now. Because the more I'm thinking about it, I think the hostile takeover in this deck is actually pretty neat too. I know it's a hollow, but I think it's like a Special art treatment version. There we are. Actually, no, it's not a hollow. That's the version of Hostile Takeover I have, though. I kind of like this one better, though, I think. Like, that one's got a nice little demon on it, and I like the side borders, don't get me wrong, but I like I really like the flavor of the artwork on this one because it's got the whole different scene on the left and the right. So it's like you can see the before and you can see the after effect of the card, which is kind of neat. Plus, it's got the whole the effect of the card is to save one of your own creatures potentially by making it a 4/4 before you deal the 3 damage, so that you don't have to lose that creature. And this allows me to show like the transition of that, but also show that I'm defending something while destroying the rest. Which this card, I like the flavor of the demon. Don't get me wrong, but let me know in the comments which one do you think I should put into my commander deck. Definitely a solid pull though. Hard to complain about that one. Oops. I got this all mixed up now. Do 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 do. Put it back in the box. That is one of the ones I want to update later today. Do we have any extra cards still left from that pack? I think we did. Yes, they're here. Elvish Visionary was the next one. When it enters, you draw a card. It's a 1 and a green for a 1/1. It's not bad. Not bad. Beautiful island, full art, or not full art, but hollow. Classic style art, but with a really nice border hollow version on it. So I like that. Tenacious Dead. 1 black for a 1/1 skeleton warrior. When it dies, you can pay 1 in a black. If you do, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. Nice. That will be good for my mono black deck. War Priest of Thune. 1 and a white for a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target enchantment. Hmm. Interesting. More interesting if you can flicker it. This guy I've got a whole bunch of copies of, and I'm not super thrilled on him. I haven't used him in any decks so far. Um, Mostly just because, yeah, I mean, if he's kicked, he's got a great extra ability that he gives you a creature back with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. But it gains haste and then you have to sacrifice it. So, I mean, unless you want to be sacrificing stuff, which I have one deck where I do that, but he isn't really worth running in that deck. So I'm going to bottom you because I have too many copies and I don't really have anything to do with it. Dust Shell Crawler enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has trample. Yeah, okay. It's decent. Decent for sure. 2 packs of Destiny down, 3 packs to go. Brief little look at the Kaiba who's looking at us. Hey, Kaiba. Aww. The heat wave is supposed to be over today. It's not supposed to be as bad today. We'll maybe go out this afternoon, honey. Okay? You don't need to go now. If he had his way, I would be walking him every, like, half hour. Not because he needs to go, but because he just needs to sniff. Kaiba loves to explore and sniff everything. Like most dogs do, don't get me wrong, but he's very like I don't know if it's a puggy thing because like I'll watch a lot of people walk their dog and they'll like go like half a block, almost a full block, and that dog won't stop for anything. Kaiba, I I'm lucky if I can get from one end of a block to another end of a block in a 10-minute period. So kind of a funny thing that how that works. So far, we've hit a legendary in each pack, though. That's not that I want to jinx it, but that's pretty good momentum. We got my favorite version of Commander Sphere. Happy to keep pulling these. I will gladly pull like a dozen more of those because any deck that I want to run Commander Sphere in, I'm going to put that card in. I love that version of Commander Sphere so much. Dissatisfied customer. We've pulled this one a bunch of times in Infinity. Um, it's actually not my favorite version of a vampire because of how low its butt is, and the fact that it's possibly going to deal some damage to you coming in. So I will bottom you. Ultimate price: 1 and a black, destroy target monocolored creature. Interesting instance. I will mid that. There are a lot of people who play monocolored stuff, so it's definitely worthwhile. And at instant speed, it's great, but still a little challenging to play around. Hookblade Veteran, 1 blue for 1/2. As long as it's your turn, this thing has flying. I like that. It's an assassin. I like that a lot, actually. We got our other knight. Back to the bottom with you, like your predecessor. Contradict. 3 and 2 blue for an instant counter target spell, draw a card. I mean, on the plus side, the counter definitely goes through. On the negative, and you're getting a bonus draw. But 5 is a lot. I'm going to admit that. Chances of you having 5 mana set aside for a counter spell? And I mean, the thing is, if the counter spell gets countered and you don't have another counter, then that sucks too. So, yeah. Duress, on the other hand, is a fun one to play. Target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-creature, non-land card, and they have to discard it. Basically, you're getting rid of an instant sorcery, enchantment, or artifact, possibly a battle or a planeswalker even. But I mean, either way, you're getting a lot of good information for 1 black at sorcery speed. I'll take that. Enoch Bonkin is what I'm going to go with. 1 and a white Outlast. Uh, Pay 1 and a white, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, but you can only do it at sorcery speed. Excuse me. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has first strike. That's a good card. That's actually a really good card. You go to the top. That's a beautiful version of Exotic Orchard from the Fallout series, but I really like that one actually. I think that might be one of my favorite artworks of Exotic Orchard. Fathom Fleet Fathom Fleet Firebrand. Try and say that one 5 times fast, guys. Pay 1 and a red to give this thing +1/+0 until end of turn. It's a human pirate that's a 2/2. Eh, you're okay. Ooh, looks like we're getting something good next. Ah, sort of. Slice from the Shadows. I like the full art, but I mean, pay 1 black and X, and target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. This can't be countered. It is a great way to remove a problem off the board. Don't get me wrong. Definitely happy to pull it. It's just the cost is really harsh because chances are what you're targeting with it is going to be probably like a 5/5 or higher by the time you get a chance to actually play the card. So you're going to be looking at spending quite a bit of mana to pull that one off. Hey, we got another crab. 4 and a blue for a 2/5 generic crab. Creatures displaced from time still turn up every year. Stranded by the temporal disaster that once swept across Dominaria. Interesting. Flavor text is interesting. It's got decent stats. I'll put you mid. You're expensive. That's why you're not going to go top by any means, but Void Wielder, 4 and a blue for a 1/4. When it enters battlefield, you may return target creature to its owner's hand. Not terrible. Too expensive, though, to go top. Turn Timber Ascetic, 4 and a green for a 5/4. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. I mean, green, you're going to be able to pull that off better than blue, but still, I'm going to mid you. And we cap off with, ooh, a Snakeskin Veil. That's always a nice one to have a copy of. +1/+1 counter and hexproof for a turn? I'll take that at instant speed for 1 green. Heck yes. 2 packs left to go, guys. And before I get into this one, there was something else I wanted to talk to you guys about in this video, and I'll bring it up again tomorrow in the vacation log. Um, with The way that the current new set versus old set series is going, um, I'm really worried that the final episode this week will end in either a tie or end up being one of those ones where I personally feel I can't make the decision. And what I was thinking about is since I can't go live this weekend with you guys because I'm visiting my best friend, maybe we make round seven a live video. And I'll see if I can find a way to make sure that I add that to a playlist. I don't know if that's actually possible to move live uh, things to a playlist. If not, I'll figure out a way to clip it and turn it into a video afterwards, possibly, or something. Who knows? But I mean, I think it'd be neat to have you guys on board for that episode. It has been one of the most exciting series on the channel so far. Modern Horizons got off to such a huge start, like incredible start, especially with that one. Trying to remember what the name is of the card that we pulled. That was $70 plus. You know which one I'm talking about, though. The blue counter spell that you can play for free. Force of Will. That's what I was trying to think. Force of Will. Um, that was an amazing pull to start us off. Modern Horizons took a massive lead, and then they fumbled it huge over the last couple weeks. And I really think that these last two packs are going to be hot. And I think they're both going to give us something spicy, and I think we're going to need some support. So, if you guys are going to be interested at all in doing a live rendition of new set versus old set for the round seven, um, let me know in the comments, and maybe we'll try and do that on Thursday at like 7:30 or something like that p.m. Because I want to make sure that I get to bed at a decent hour and that everything is packed and ready to go for Friday. Um, but anyways, that's all I have for you with that. If not, I will record the video as always, and I'll probably put up a poll if I need to for determining the winner. I mean, if there's an obvious clear-cut winner, that's great, but if not, it's always nice to see what you guys think. Pack number 4. Knocking on the door, coming in hot with something I've got. What do I got? I got a Helica Glider. Nightmare Squirrel 2/2. Two and a white. When it enters the battlefield, it comes with your choice of a flying counter or a first strike counter. Interesting. Silver Mirror. 2 for 1/1. Tap, add blue to your mana pool. I'm not sure. There might be something wrong with the art on this one because that is like flushed out hard though. Like there you can't the blue mana symbol isn't colored in at all. If it's not, I really like the artwork on this one though. I like that he's like chilling in the rainstorm. It's pretty cool. I am going to put you top. Even though you only work in a blue deck necessarily, um, the artwork is what's going to save you. And your flavor text is good too. The Valdecans saw the mirror as toys, unaware of the intelligence lurking behind their empty eyes. Now that is old school for sure. Give it to me. 97. 97. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, Soltari Trooper. One and a white. It's got a little bit of damage in the top corner there, unfortunately, but still, just means it's been played and loved at some point. Ooh, it has Shadow. Shadow is one of those things like horsemanship where it's just like a BS mechanic where if the creature doesn't have this, the creature can't block this. So any creature with shadow can block another creature with shadow, but if a creature doesn't have shadow, it can't be blocked by a creature that has shadow. So basically, this guy is unblockable. And in white, you're not going to see a lot of people who play shadow. I don't think I've ever seen a card that had shadow on white. Anyways, one and a white for a 1/1 with shadow, and when it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn, so it becomes a 2/2 when it attacks. Nice. You can go top. Actually, you get to go over here because you are old school, and you are our first old school card of the day. So you get a special little section all to yourself. I'll put you over here with the land, actually, so you're more in the camera. Ooh, 2001. Just missed the mark. Almost had a second old school card in a row. Strafe is a 1 red sorcery that deals 3 damage to target non-red creature. Alright, let's light 'em up, says Gerard. I like the flavor text, I like the artwork. I'm gonna give this top. Scorchmark. 1 in a red, instant, deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature would die, exile it instead. Heck yes. That will go great in the red and black deck I want to build. Deliberate is an awesome one to pull an extra copy of. Scry 2, draw a card. Ooh, Mystic Genesis. I've never pulled one of these. What's this do? Counter target spell, put an XX green ooze creature token onto the battlefield where X is that spell's converted mana cost. That is a lot for a counter spell. It does have a really neat ability, don't get me wrong, but paying 5 to get a counter spell off? I'm gonna mid you. It isn't green, so it's doable. But 2 blue, a green, and 2 is a heavy cost. Aeronaut Cavalry. 4 and a white for 3/4 flying. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on another target soldier you control. That's actually pretty good. I like that. I'm gonna mid you though, because again, it has to be a soldier specifically, but ooh, Rakdos Guildgate. I like the artwork on this one. That's probably gonna be the one that makes my Guildgate deck when I eventually build that. Probably not gonna build that one for another couple months though, at this rate. I've got so many other decks I want to build. I figure I'm going to build the Guildgates deck and the Rooms deck at the same time. They're going to be 2 different ones, but I'm going to probably build them at the same time because they're both 5-color decks. And 5-color. I find 5-color decks are a really huge investment in my time compared to a monocolor deck because it's a lot more cards that I have to search through and siphon out to determine what I want to put in. That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to build a bunch of monocolor decks this week is because I figured I'd be actually able to get them done as compared to some of the other decks that I've kind of been dreaming of building for a while but put on the back burner. Stormkirk Patrol is a 4 and a black for a 4/3 vampire soldier. It deals combat damage to a player. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay. It's decent. A little expensive, but Trostani's Judgment. 5 and a white, instant exile target creature, then populate. Yeah, you're going mid. I like the populating of thing because I can make an extra token out of it, but you know what? No, I'm gonna bottom you. You are so bloody specific. Because first off, if I'm not playing tokens, that card is useless. Second off, it has to be in a white deck that plays tokens. Third off, can only exile a creature. I can't exile a planeswalker or an enchantment or anything else, only a creature. And then it costs 6. That is 4 solid reasons to put it bottom. So, to bottom you go. Conifer Strider. 3 and a green for a 5/1 elemental with hexproof. You go mid because you have hexproof, but you have a really weak butt, so that's why you're not going to make it to the top at any time soon. Opaline Unicorn. 3 for an artifact creature that's a 1/2. Tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Nice. Act of Treason. I have so many copies of this now that I'm going to put it mid, but I actually do love this card. I just don't run enough copies of it in different decks because I'm just not a huge fan of stealing people's stuff normally. I mean, I do it occasionally, but it's not like my go-to response. And Pilfer, 1 and a black, target opponent reveals their hand, you choose a non-land card from it, and they have to discard it. Decent. Much like the other one, Duress, getting information on what somebody's holding is the big reason why that's going to the top. Last pack, I think I might have jinxed us earlier because of the start with the two legendaries, and then I did knock on the wood, but I don't think it saved it. But we'll see. Maybe we get one more legendary. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Sledge Scorpion. One green for a 1/1 with Death Touch. I'll take that any day. Fenhauler. Six and a black for a 5/5 improvise. So you can pay some of the cost, the colorless cost at least, by using artifacts. You tap them and then they cover for the mana. And this thing can't be blocked by artifact creatures. Eh, there. Ooh, we did hit an extra legendary. Nice. And we got an older version of the artwork. Like it's when I say older version, I mean they've done an old school treatment on the artwork. It's actually like 2023. At the beginning of combat on your turn, for each ore and equipment attached to this guy, you create a 3/1 elemental creature token with trample and haste, and then those tokens get exiled at the beginning of your next end step. So essentially, this guy builds a huge army if you stack a bunch of stuff on top of him, and then when he swings out, you can swing out with his little army, and then his army disappears at the end of the turn. Happy to have hit a second legendary, though. Very happy about that. I do have a couple copies of him, but I actually might make my mono red deck around him. I've been meaning to. I have a mono colored deck plan in every color except red. Green actually has two already, and the Molimo deck makes three if I decide to end up keeping it, which I'm debating right now whether I want to keep it or I want to split up and put its parts into the other two mono green decks just to improve them. But I yeah, I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do for a mono red, but my best choice so far was a creature that had power equal to devotion to red, which I thought made for an interesting commander, even though it only had toughness 3. Um, but I might go with the Valduke. I like the Valduke. He's a good guy. Painsmith, 1 and a black, human artificer 2/1. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you can have target creature get +2/+0 and death touch until end of turn. Mid. Would be better if I could make if the it was when an artifact entered the battlefield instead of just being cast, but Augur Spree. 1 black red. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn at instant speed? Okay, I'll take that. Gem Palm Incinerator. New Goblin. Cycling 1 in a red. 2/1 for 2 in a red. If you cycle this thing, you can have it deal X damage to target creature where X is the number of goblins on the bat. Ooh, shit. Ooh, that's definitely going in my other goblin deck when I eventually build it. Lantern Scout, 2 and a white for a 3/2. Whenever this or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain lifelink until end turn. Nice. I eventually want to build an allies deck, and that will be an awesome piece for it. So I'm gonna min it though because it's very specific. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna min it because it's specific. Ooh, all right, old card, 95. I thought it was just gonna be old school treatment, but it's actually old card. 3 and a white. The black. Good grief. 3 and a white for a 0/2. Pay 2 white, tap, prevent up to 4 damage to a creature you control. Tap that creature. That creature doesn't untap during your next untap phase. Ew. Okay, well, you're lucky you are old because you're gonna go here instead of the bottom where you belong, but. Mm. Divest. One black for sorcery. Target player reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from it. They discard that card. I will still let you go to top because you reveal the person's hand, but yeah, that one's much worse than the other two. Actually, you know what? Because you're worse than the other two, I have no choice. I'm gonna mid you. Ornery Kudu, sorry. 2 and a green for a 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. Okay, there's one card that I actually own that's green that this would actually combo with in a really neat way. Otherwise, that kind of is sucky in a lot of ways. But I will put you mid because of the neat combo that I've thought of in my head. Grim Contest. One green and black. Choose target creature you control and target creature an opponent controls. Each of those creatures deals damage equal to its toughness to each other. Huh. Okay, well that definitely means they're both going to die instead of it being like the typical fight version where it's power. Hmm. Yeah. Actually, no, I guess not. If my toughness is weaker than your toughness, I'm definitely not going to survive. So it's going to be whoever's got the highest toughness is the one that's going to be the survivor, and the other one's going to die. At instant speed, I'm going to admit that actually. I originally was going to put it top because I was thinking, you know what would be really funny? Just target like a 1/1 token, sacrifice that, and then it kills off whatever it attacks, but I wasn't thinking about the logic of that very carefully. Hypnotic Sprite, 2 blue for a 2/1 with flying, or 2 and a blue for instant adventure. Counter target spell with converted mana cost 3 or less. Yeah, that's decent. That's a decent one for sure. Captain Storm, come something Raider. I cannot read it because his hat is blocking the text. Does anyone know what this is actually supposed to be? Communion Raider? I don't know. Comedy Raider? Human Pirate 2/2. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target pirate you control. Nice. That will be a fun commander deck to build eventually. I do want to build a pirates deck eventually. Do not have one yet. Storm of the Seed Core. 2 and 2 green. Distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among up to 4 creatures you control. Each of those creatures gets vigilance and trample until it. Damn. And Belligerent Guests. Trample 3/2 for 2 and a red. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a blood token. It's an okay one. I'm gonna admit it though. We'll put you top, whatever. You're not so bad. Just chances are you're gonna die the first time you attack. Alright. I mean, yeah, we got a few bottom cards, which we don't normally hit this many bottom ones per se, but we did also open 5 packs, so can't be too upset about that. Pulled some pretty good stuff today, guys. Um, Hopefully you guys are enjoying your Tuesdays. I know you're probably not going to be enjoying them as much as I am, unfortunately. Um, but I do hope that you guys have good days, whatever you're up to, and that life treats you well, all that good stuff. Let's take it away from the cards. Go. I think I hit the